Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Today, me and my friend Priya Sharma will be taking you all on the insightful presentation on the fifth 5 year plan. So, today we will be taking you through the introduction, key objectives and focus area, significant achievement, development and policies, and finally the conclusions. To begin with the introduction, the fifth 5 year plan was started in the year 1981 and was commenced in the year 1986 under the leadership of His Majesty the Fourth Tukalpo Jimsingha Wanchu. The actual growth rate of the fifth 5 year plan was 8.5% per annum, exceeding its target growth rate, which was 6.5% per annum. The main objectives or the aims of fifth 5 year plan was achieving sustainable economic growth and self-reliance by mobilizing internal resources and promoting equitable development with public participation. The
So, I'll be talking about the key objectives and the focus area of fifth 5 year plan. The first focus area is education and their objectives are the government is working to improve literacy in several ways. They are building 21 new schools, primary schools, and adding 121 classrooms to existing ones. This means more space for students to learn about, but it's not about having more school, they're also making sure the education is better. They're improving what teachers teach, how they teach, and even the buildings where the students learn. Also, they want to preserve our culture, so they're making sure that the part of the education and it's the part of our education, the culture is also the part of our education. The goal is to have more educated and skilled people who know about the culture and can help our country grow. The second key objective the second focus area of fifth 5 year plan is health, and the objectives are to improve and widen the coverage of healthcare system by preventing and controlling the common epidemic and communicable disease, and they intended to achieve a target of establishing 50 PHUs and establish two Zongkaks the Zongkak hospitals. And they also want existing hospital to be upgraded and have a bed strength of 20 and to be provided with radiological and laboratory equipment. This third focus area is the agriculture, and the objectives are to achieve self-sufficiency in food grain production, increase steadily the income of farming community through diversification of production, primarily the cash crops, and they also want to improve the overall nutritional status of the population by they are also focusing on the improvement of seed production and achieving self sufficiency to the extent as possible. The fourth focus area of fifth 5 year plan is animal husbandry, and their objectives are to improve the productivity of livestock through an integrated approach, having simultaneous attention to scientific breeding, better feeding, improved management, and effective health control through prevention of disease. They also want to supplement the income of livestock farmers through a better marketing system so as to ensure that the benefits of production are progressively transferred to the producers, especially in the rural areas. And their objective is to augment the production of livestock product to improve the nutritional intake of the people and achieve self-sufficiency in animal husbandry production. Another focus area is was on rural development, and the objective are to plan and control the growth of urban areas. They want to provide utilities such as road, electricity, water supply, sanitation, and drainage in identified urban centers. They are also uh, the another objective is also providing protected drinking water, basic sanitation facilities in rural areas to achieve desirable environmental standards. The sixth focus area of fifth 5 year plan was on forestry, and the objectives were conservation and augmentation of forest resources, and another one was the scientific management of exploitation of forest resource, which has three under three conditions to meet the population's need for forest products. Second condition was to promote forest based industries, in particular those with high value added content, and to increase export of forest product and government revenues from forestry sector. Another objective of forestry was the preservation of ecological system, particularly the varied wildlife. The seventh focus area of fifth FYP was information and broadcasting. Their objectives was to strengthen the production capabilities with necessary materials, to develop a matching delivery system, and to increase both the frequency and coverage of news and broadcasting system. The last objective was to increase the broadcasting hours to about 63 hours a week. The eighth focus area of five-year 5-year development plan was the trade and commerce. Their objective was to create the physical infrastructure required to promote the growth of trade and commerce, including an effective internal marketing and distribution network which will develop the local markets to indigenous products and promote internal trade. Another objective was to monitor and develop the external market in order to export an insufficient foreign exchange to the finance to finance the increasing volume of import. Next is to develop marginal and technically skilled personal required, and the last one is to promote entrepreneurship and build up local training communities. And the last one is the communication. Their focus area was on communication, and the communication objectives was the expansion of communication facilities, especially postal service in the remote rural areas, improvement of existing operational services, and introduction of new services. And the last one was to upgradation of handling capacity of postal, telegraph, and telephone services to center to the increasing traffics.
Now, let's talk about the significant achievement of the fifth 5 year plan. Some of the significant achievements of the fifth 5 year plan are: number one, Royal Civil Service Commission. The Royal Civil Service Commission (RCSC) was established in 1982, is responsible for formulating and implementing personal policies, promoting efficiency, loyalty, integrity, and maintaining high morale among civil servants. Number two, revenue. The revenue has increased from neutrum 119.6 million in 1981 to 1982 to neutrum 340.1 million in 1986 to 87. It also includes neutrum 22.706 million as received from Chuka hydropower project in 1986 to 1987. The revenue from indirect tax increased from neutrum 54 million during 1981 to 1982 to neutrum 109.3 million during 1986 to 1987. Number 3, direct tax. There was a steep rise in the direct tax attributing to the introduction of corporate tax of 30% on net profit of selected public undertaking, various organizations and institutions. Besides that, the rate of business income tax was also raised from 1% of the annual sales turnover to neutrum 2 sorry turnover to 2% of the annual sales turnover for all categories of traders. Number 4, agriculture. There was an increase in agriculture production and improved infrastructure development for the farmers. Number 5, establishment of Trade Information Center. The Trade Information Center was established to collect trade statistics, compiling and disseminating general trade information for the information user. Number 6, Center of Agriculture Research Development. The Center for Research Agriculture Research Development CART at Wandipodam was launched. It was a collaborative project for improving rice based farming systems presently being implemented with the assistance from the International Rice Research Institutes IRRI. Number 7, Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index increased from 116.3 in 1981 to 215.3 in 1988. The average annual growth rates of Consumer Price Index over the periods 1981 to 1988, 1981 to 1986 have been 9.2%, 9.4% respectively. Number 8, GDP. The gross domestic product at constant price increased from neutrum 1204.8 million to neutrum 1674.5 million, recording a compound annual growth rate of 6.8%, and the GDP in the current price increased from neutrum 1093 in 1981 to neutrum 2123 in 1986. Number 9, the Royal Monetary Authority. The Royal Monetary Authority RMA of Bhutan was established in 1982 with the help of the International Monetary Fund. Its development was planned in three phases. Phase 1, or also called as the initial phase, which focuses on traditional central bank functions like currency issuance, financial institution supervision, and research. This phase aimed to build expertise for future goal. Number phase 2, or the growth phase, manage money supply for economic growth and price stability. This includes controlling credit expansion, regulating credit to key sectors, and potentially implementing credit planning. The RMA might also become more involved in maintaining the exchange rate and managing foreign reserve. Phase 3, or the maturity phase, is act as a function as a full-fledged central bank by overseeing and regulating all other financial institutions in Bhutan.
And next, I'll be talking about the development and the policies of Fifth Five-Year Plan and the development. The first policy is decentralization policy, which focuses on local communities and enhanced development activities. This decentralization entails transferring planning and implementation responsibilities to Dzongkhag level, fostering tailored plans that reflect local priorities and capacities. The district planning committees, which in another name known as Dzongkhag Yerge Thogdu, play a pivotal role in in this process, bridging the gap between the government and the communities and ensuring plans align with local needs. Their responsibilities include supervising implementation and ensuring projects are feasible within the community capabilities. And this approach seeks to foster sustainable development and increase community participation, ultimately leading to more inclusive and effective outcome. The second policy is the commercial operation policy, or streamlining the commercial operations. They they focus on promoting self reliance through three best strategies. The first strategy is the emphasis on investing more in activities that generate revenues, such as industries, the forest, tourism, and the power. This investment totaling about 159.6 million, making up to 37% of the total budget, and aim to shift focus from basic infrastructure to productive investment. The second strategy is to streamline existing commercial operations to make them financially feasible and contribute to government revenue. This involves reviewing and reconstructing this operation, installing management system, and ensuring that they operate automatically and efficiently. The last one is that there's a plan to review the tax structure and public finance system to increase the revenue in the future. The goal is to nurture a management ethics, train suitable personnel, and establish guidelines for autonomy and government control over these operations, recognizing the importance of efficient management for sustainable growth in public sector. The third one is the streamlining the budgetary system. His Majesty the King's principle of self-reliance aims to over the he basically aims to overcome the basic cost of government services using resources within the country, which involves not only increasing financial resources but also controlling unnecessary spending through better budgeting and organizing. And the fifth five-year plan expects revenue from investment in improved commercial activities to contribute significantly to the domestic resources. They also recognize the potential for increased revenue through taxation, especially with a growing economy. Thus, these reforms aim to ensure efficient use of resources while adapting to the changing needs to decentralized government structure. The fourth is the monetary policy. The fifth five-year plan's goal is main goal is to include large-scale investment in industry, and the need to raise funds requires significant institutional efforts to meet these challenges. Their main options are expanding currency, utilizing financial institution resources, and increasing the public debt. Additionally, for the effective management of foreign exchange and meeting the growing demand for credit or are the crucial ones. And after recognizing all these needs, the Royal Monetary Authority was established in 1982 with the assistance from the International Monetary Fund, and the RMA's main role was basically starting with the traditional central banking function and eventually becoming the country's central bank, supervising and regulating financial institutions. And what they want is the RMA to manage currency assurance, ensure stability between the Niltam and the rupee, implement exchange control, and manage public debt. Thus, RMA was established to monitor the financial institutions' health and enforce liquidity and credit reserve ratio to ensure their stability. The fifth and the second last policy of fifth five-year plan was the industrial development policy. The uh, aim was to address infrastructure gap and financial constraint. The government acknowledged its limited experience in regulating large industrial ventures, leading to which basically leads to flexible policy approach. They also focused on strengthening the economy's resources base and boosting revenue generation with emphasis on increasing the value added component of exports. The policy also balances public and private sectors strategy with public sector spray, spreading large scale resource based investment and private sector encourage through supportive measures like industrial states and training programs. The National Commission of Development the National Commission for Development of Trade and Industry oversees project feasibility, distinguishing between small, medium, and large scale industries, while the government plays a dominating role in large scale enterprise. It aims to gradually transition towards a more prominent private sector role. Supportive measures include training programs, marketing assistance, and infrastructure development initiatives for corporation for corporate tax and financial incentives. The last policy of fifth five-year plan is the administration and manpower. The fifth they are characterized by two primary strategies and aimed at effectively managing manpower resources. First one is decentralization of administrative responsibilities, seeking to strengthen administration and engage local communities in project implementation to elevate pressure on overall manpower. The second one is the implementation of manpower the implementation of manpower development policy, which focuses on promptly meeting the country's need while controlling unrealistic demand for manpower. They also involves linking educational expansion to workforce requirement, rational requirement, and allocation of personnel overseen by the Royal Civil Service Commission.
So, finally, the conclusion. Some of the key takeaway from our presentation on the fifth five-year plan are as follow. Number one, the economic growth. The plan exceeded its target growth rate with GDP rising by 8.5% annually. Revenue generation increased, particularly through the direct tax and the Chuka hydropower project. Number two, agriculture. The plan focused on achieving food sufficiency, diversifying crops, and improving farmer income. The establishment of CARD further supported agriculture development. Number three, social development. The plan aimed to improve healthcare, education, and living standards. Initiatives included expanding healthcare facilities, establishing new schools, and promoting sanitation. Number four, infrastructure. The plan focused on developing transportation, communication, and power generation. Notably, the Royal Monetary Authority was established to manage financial resources. Number five, self reliance. The plan emphasized mobilizing internal resources and reducing dependence on external aid. Policies like decentralization and streamlining budgets promoted self reliance. And thank you.